Good morning, Michigan. As Vice Chair of the Commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 9:02 a.m. This Zoom webinar is being live streamed on YouTube on the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission YouTube channel. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they are currently using, please visit our social media at Redistricting MI. Our live stream today includes closed captioning, ASL interpretation, and Spanish, Arabic, and Bengali translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those closed caption transcripts will be made available and posted on the michigan.gov/MICRC website, along with written public comment submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to post maps and comments, which can be viewed by both the Commission and the public. Members of the media who may have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, Communications and Outreach Director for the Commission, at woodse3@michigan.gov or 517-331-6309. For purposes of the public watching and the public record, I will turn to Department of State staff to take note of the commissioners present.
Good morning, commissioners. Please say present when I call your name. If you're attending today's meeting remotely, please announce during roll that you are attending remotely. And unless your absence is due to military duty, please disclose where you are physically attending from. I'll call on commissioners in alphabetical order, starting with Doug Clark.
Present.
Juanita Curry. Anthony Eade. Brittany Kellum. Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella. Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
9 commissioners are present and there is a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. As a reminder to the public watching, you can view the agenda at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. I would now entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Witches, second by Commissioner Vallette. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Commissioner Clark.
I do.
Oh, and Commissioner Lang.
I would like to add 2 items to the agenda, please. The first one is to approve the 11.4 version of the mapping process.
As item 6A?
Correct.
Okay.
And the second is to revisit the process of individual commission members submitting maps.
From yesterday?
From yesterday, yes.
Very good. We'll add that as 6B.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark.
Okay.
Commissioner Lang, do you have an additional additions?
No, mine was basically his second.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So we have the motion made by Commissioner Witches and a second by Commissioner Vallette to amend the agenda with item 6A under new business. 6A, approve the mapping process from 11.4. And then 6B, revisit the process for submitting commissioner maps. Director Hammersmith.
I believe Doug made the motion to amend, and I don't recall if there was there a second to that?
That was, oh, I apologize. You're right. We had a motion to adopt the agenda.
What, you need to amend first.
Rhonda said, yeah, basically Rhonda was this.
Was that her?
I will
concurrence or-
second it.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang, and I apologize for jumping that. So we have a motion to amend the agenda. All in favor of the amendment to add 6A and 6B as presented, please raise your hand. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail and the amendment to the agenda is adopted. Now let's return to the agenda. So the agenda as amended, is there any discussion? We've already discussed it. We've amended it. All in favor of raising or adopting the agenda as presented, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail and the motion is adopted. Without objection, we will now begin public comment pertaining to agenda topics portion of our meeting. Hearing no objection, we will now proceed with public comment pertaining to agenda topics. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. Please step to the nearest microphone when I call your number. You will have 1 minute to address the commission. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. I will note for the public record that we do have Commissioner Eid with us at 9:08 a.m. First in line to provide public comment is number 1.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Ted Seeger. I'm a long-term resident of Saginaw Township in Saginaw County. I'd like to urge the Commission to draw the new districts, both congressional and legislature, to recognize the communities that actually live together and therefore have common interest. Those communities are neighborhoods, townships, counties, and local regions that share common living conditions, economies and lifestyles, and also struggles, problems, and goals. Please do not divide communities that work, play, and struggle together for the pretense of partisan fairness. Maps that divide communities with unnatural boundaries are just a different form of gerrymandering, in my opinion. And that leads to no one being represented because the community's voice is diluted among separate districts and combined with others that have different interests, different needs, and different problems. That just leads to the possibility of political manipulation. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 2.
Hi, my name is Susan Anderson, and I represent a group called Blue Brigade that has over 300 members. And what we would like is the congressional maps to have a little bit more work to them. Some pieces are really good, but for fairness, please take the southeast portion of the Birch map and combine it with what you have done in drawn in West Michigan in either the Chestnut or Apple maps. The other request we have is that you use map 06677 in the Lansing area for state representative districts, which will put Delta Township back in Eaton County. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 3, please.
Good morning. I agree with my colleague, Susan Anderson, number 2. I'm Cheryl Hayes, Ingham County, and I campaigned door to door for Prop 2 to get fair maps and a level playing field. The current proposed State House maps, including the revised Pine, provide an advantage to one party. And I'd like you to consider map 06677 for the greater Lansing area. I'm asking you to prioritize partisan fairness to get to close to 0 as possible on the bias scores, and over 1% is still too much. Please do not approve a map that gives an advantage to a political party. We passed Prop 2 to get fair maps so parties win seats in line with their share of the vote. We're counting on you to create those maps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commenter number 4, please.
Yes, name is Jim Renner from Watertown Township in Clinton County. And the current map that is drawn has a heavy emphasis on a large student body, whether it's MSU or Cooley or LCC. I find that inconsistent with the community interest of Watertown and of Clinton County. In fact, in May, I came before this group and suggested exactly that those large student bodies not be included in rural organizations like Clinton County and Watertown Township, but they were. That is not consistent with common interests, common values of our community. In fact, the large student populations are transient. They leave after they graduate, but during that time they can vote. They have no consequences of the votes that they made because they're no longer part of the community. Whereas the communities of Watertown and others in Clinton are firm communities. They do not move. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 5, please.
Good morning. My name is John Schneider. I am a Lansing resident and have lived in Michigan my entire life. I just want to say that I am impressed with the Pine V5 map. I like how you have been listening to folks and are trying splitting Lansing into 5 to see how that affects the rest of the state and how that helps your work. And I think that it has shown to you as well, and what you have seen is that it's working well. We still have about a 4.3% divide in partisan fairness and efficiency score. And I know that you guys are going to do work to try to get that closer to 0 as you continue today. And thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 6.
Good morning. I'm Crystal Boyd, Sarah Howard's legal assistant. We understand that this commission deeply desires that the final maps end up being the collaborative options. All of you know that if this body does not obtain the constitutionally required votes for any map, a resolution procedure will settle it, potentially ending in a random drawing. Last night, you set a deadline for Monday for commissioners to submit maps for public comment period. Your attorney has advised you that no changes can be made to maps without going through public comment again. Because of that, it is highly likely that only maps submitted by Monday, collaborative or otherwise, will be possibilities for you when it is all said and done. If this commission ends up in a scenario where one or more maps are decided by the resolution procedure, possibly a random draw, it is supremely important that you have as many maps as possible in that mix that satisfy the Constitution. Because of that, we urge at least one of you to submit the Fair Maps Project state legislator maps. The shape files are at 48749 and F8750.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 7.
Good morning, Commission. As you know, my name is Sarah Howard, and I represent the AFL-CIO's Fair Maps Project. We think, of course, that my clients' maps do the best job of satisfying the Constitution, but you don't have to agree with us to submit them, though. If the resolution procedure happens, these maps deserve to be in the running. Realistically, they won't be if at least one of you doesn't submit them by Monday. It does not denigrate the hope that collaborative maps win to acknowledge what could happen. Please, we ask at least one of you to submit other viable options like the Fair Maps Project maps and allow the public to comment on them. The partisan fairness advice you received yesterday was wrong, with all due respect to counsel. The Constitution does have a specific 0 requirement as to partisan fairness when it prohibits, quote, disproportionate advantage in the plain language. You must also reflect communities of interest, but it's impossible to reflect all communities all the time, even if that were your only criterion. But you have yet to draw any map at any level that doesn't favor Republicans on all metrics except for the seats vote ratio. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a good day.
You too. Number 8, please.
Hi, my name is Nikki. I'm a Lansing resident. I'm here to talk about the Pine Map version 5. I'm very happy with the work that's been done thus far. The state Senate map is great, and for the Pine Map, the efficiency gap really needs to come down below 2%. The 4.3 that it's at now is unsatisfactory. The 2016 election was a close year, and looking at that map and the turnout might be helpful. In 2016, Democrats lost by 10,000, and in 2018, they won by 400,000. I think comparing these two maps would help bring down the gap and create a more fair map. Also, looking at the districts in Detroit last night and that border the suburbs, I don't think they will be empowering the people that we want to empower. So please comply with the Voting Rights Act and revisit those areas. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. I'd like to acknowledge that we have Commissioner Curry with us. Good morning. Would you like to tell us where you're joining us today from?
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Juanita Curry, and I'm attending remotely from Detroit, Michigan.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Number 9, please.
All right. Good morning, commissioners. I'm Michael Davis Jr., Redistricting Director for Promote the Vote. I appreciate all of your time and hard work in this process. And now it's more important than ever to give PTV's fair, equitable maps and ideas a chance. Our forward-looking approach to the data anticipates our VRA districts, which join Detroit with Oakland or Macomb counties, will likely have an increased Black CVAP over the next decade. Our Kent County split similarly accommodates the growing Latino population. Our Flint draw does the same with partisan fairness. Making our PTV adaptations to your own Pine map created a Pine Sol submission, P8528, another viable option. There were few of many maps submitted with the level of consideration that we put in. So I ask each of you to really look at the data and narratives that Promote the Vote provided. I promise you will find our maps are fair for all of Michigan. And after you revisit Promote the Vote's maps that do away with some of the gerrymandering that still exists in some of your current maps, someone will do the right thing to ensure that all of us who call Michigan home have a few more quality map options to consider by adding each Promote the Vote map P6782, 6783, and P6784 into the pool for 45 days of comment. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Do we have number 10 with us? Yes. And before number 10 speaks, forgive me, I want to acknowledge that Commissioner Kellum has joined us at 9:19. Nice to have you with us. Please go ahead.
Good morning. I came here to express a general concern about the independence of the commission. I expressed that concern in previous 2 hearings that I took part in. And first of all, I was looking at the maps that split. It's basically the commission still in some area did gerrymandering. So the proposal was sold to the people of Michigan in 2018 that it's going to be an independent commission that will eliminate gerrymandering. Oakland County is split in 3 districts. 2 districts could do, US districts. Macomb County is split in 4 districts. 2 districts again would do. And again, I expressed that in the last hearing in Grand Rapids, the commission is biased towards the Democratic Party. We got 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, but we got 2 independents who are Democrats based upon their activities. I'm not going to name their names. I named them last time. Somebody admonished me, but you know who they are, all right? So this issue needs to be resolved. Self-identification as an independent doesn't work. Better vetting criteria needs to be implemented by this commission.
Thank you for addressing the commission. I believe we have number 11 and 12 who've joined us. So number 11, please.
Cathy Lakem from the city of Midland. Thank you, Commissioners Wagner, Langen, Clark, for hearing the voices of the thousands of flood victims in Midland and Gladwin counties and working to put forward the Pine version 5 State House map. Can you please apply the same logic and simply make a tweak to one of your existing congressional maps? Just a tweak, at least to give an option that puts Midland County back together and in a separate district from Flint, because both cities have different needs from the government. The federal government recently awarded the Midland Gladwin region $54 million to aid in flood recovery and mitigation, a perfect example of how unified representation in our government helps a community of interest. I'm not asking for a major overhaul. I'm simply asking that you do for our flood victims what you've done for so many other communities around the state when you've heard differing views. Tweak the map to provide another option. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 12.
My name is Bill Schutte. Some have advised me not to say anything, fearing the commission would get mad and punish my hometown. But that's what is occurring. And I stopped being intimidated by bullies long ago on the playgrounds in Midland. In addition to the VRA problems that disenfranchise Detroiters, your current maps fracture the city of Midland and county of Midland and do three bad things. Three bad things. One, separate Mid-Michigan's Health's main campus from the rest of its operations to the north and west. Two, separate Dow Company's headquarters from employees and related businesses in Midland and Gladwin. And three, diminish dam repair and flood reduction efforts as Midland's trying to recover from three monstrous floods in 86, 2017, and 2020 if people have lost count. Three bad things would be political gerrymandering. Don't do three bad things. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. I believe that we have no 13 at the moment, so we will now move on to remote public comment. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide live remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. I will call your name and our staff will unmute you. If you're on a computer, you will be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute your microphone and speak. If you're on the phone, a voice will say that the host would like you to speak and prompt you to press *6 to unmute. I will call on you by your name. Also, please note that if you experience technical or audio issues or we do not hear from you for 3 to 5 seconds, we will move on to the next person in line and return to you after they are done speaking. If your audio still does not work, you can email redistricting@michigan.gov and we will help you troubleshoot so you can participate during the next public comment period at a later hearing or meeting. You will have 1 minute to address the commission. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. First in line to provide public comment is James Gallant.
Hello, it's James Gallant. Marquette, these are my opinions. The mapping process is now an approved rules of procedure. They need 3 days prior notice to be amended. Now, it sounds like you folks can submit your own maps. Well, the AFL-CIO maps are not your maps, unless, of course, you'd like to take ownership of them. Now, a recap of the violations of your oath of office. This, in my opinion, in this country, is institutionalized bullying, tag team style, AKA Dutch polder model from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. This is how they do it over there, but this is unconstitutional here. The chair came to an action item on the agenda alleging that deliberations have been carried over from the prior meeting without approving a motion to postpone. Rothord said he was going to facilitate. The chair then segued into Zatella-Eid merged maps that didn't exist the day before. The members were allowed to unilaterally stop debate by simply calling the question until Ead's point of order, which benefited himself. The chair didn't check the rule book.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 2, Loida Tapia.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you so much for all of your hard work that you have put into these maps. I want to thank again Commissioner Brittany Kellum and Juanita Curry from Detroit. I'm also a resident of Detroit, for your hard work on the Magnolia map, but there are still missing voting rights districts. We currently have 12, and your changes to the maps do not hold the 12 voting right districts that are needed for Detroit and its representation. I also want to point out an op-ed that was published today in the Detroit Free Press talking about the critical consequences that these maps have on the Flint water crisis, cities like Flint and Detroit and others in the state. Please consider your Voting Rights Act. When you are continuing to edit these maps, please consider looking at Promote the Votes maps that do consider the voting rights districts in the cities of Flint and Detroit. We will be making additional edits to the Mongolia map to reflect.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 3, Anthony Scannell.
Hi, Commission. Yesterday, towards the end of the meeting, while you're working on Senate maps, the chair edified the idea of options for Ann Arbor and Jackson in your Senate map. Well, it reminded me a couple days prior, the chair also promised and assumed to take on the burden personally to create such options for Detroit in another map type. Well, what happened? Dog ate her homework? Dog ate anyone's homework? You know, you're all getting paid for this, right? You all worked on those congressional drafts in one day and one and done. When you drafted it for my district, someone not from the area drafted it, it looks like it. And now you one and done it in your review debriefing process. I mean, this dynamic really calls into question the validity of how you've incorporated public comments. It's really subject to your own partisanship, prejudice, and it's just a public perception that you're giving preference good or bad towards people. So you've really fostered this dynamic, and this process has really failed the people of Michigan. Obviously, you probably don't feel that way, but that's because you don't live where I live, and you probably aren't going to have to live in the district that you've drawn for me. So I'm really disappointed in what you've done, and this was a waste.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Doug Floto, number 6.
Sorry, I had to click through a number of things. I'm Doug Floto from Commerce Township. In looking at the latest revised state Senate map, it's very close to the current state House map, which was developed in the gerrymandered style of the Republican Party, and it still favors disproportionately the Republican Party. I would wish to get closer to a zero efficiency map for the area and reduce the partisan bias towards the Republican Party. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. I believe our next commenter is number 7. I just have an email address. I don't have a name.
That participant is not present.
Okay, so number 8, Doreen Gardner.
Unmute. Good morning. I would like to thank you for allowing me to address you. I would like to ask that you continue to produce fair and equitable maps. Do not approve any map that does not comply with the Voting Act's right. We want to see more Black and Brown voices elected to Michigan, not fewer. Your job is to get as close to zero on the partisan bias as possible. I know we're still not there yet, so I'm asking you to please continue on that vote. Also, no one on the commission should vote to approve a map that provides disproportionate advantage to one political party over another. So I'm asking you, please to consider all of these options. And remember, as you are doing these, that it's not about politics. This is all about people. I'm also concerned about the maps that are being drawn in the Kalamazoo County. We need to make sure that those also are fair as far as so that people of color have an opportunity to get elected to office, as well as the party. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 9, Mary Murphy.
Hello. Hi, can
Hello.
you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you. My name is Mary Murphy. I'm from Oakland County, Southeast Oakland County. And thank you for letting me speak. As you know, I spoke before and my concerns are still regarding partisan bias, equity, and the Voting Rights Act. I feel that your congressional maps and your Senate maps are on their way, but they still have not met that goal. But the House, Michigan House maps still continue to have partisanship towards the Republican Party. We volunteered, we walked, we did a lot of work to try to get these to be fair maps. And I have faith in you that you will continue to do your work and you will bring the partisan bias down as close to zero as possible. That is your job. This is for the people of the state of Michigan, not any party. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 10, Andrew Lawrence.
Yes, hello. Start my video. Hi, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today. I'm calling from Royal Oak, Michigan. We really need one person, one vote, and no minority rule in Michigan. If the current Senate maps have a 3% partisan bias based on the 2020 election turnout, that means we're throwing out 150,000 votes. One person, one vote. And as Doreen said, your job is to get as close to zero on the partisan bias scores as possible. If we're over 100%, we still have work to do. Communities of interest is not an excuse to pack voters of a particular party into fewer and fewer districts to weaken their voice. A map is not fair if one party can win a majority of the seats while losing the majority of the votes. We voted for Prop 2 in 2018 to rid Michigan of the rigged system. We want fair maps that create a level playing field. And again, to echo Doreen's statement, no one on the commission should vote to approve a map that gives a disproportionate advantage to one political party. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 13, Sharon Turner.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Turner, and I am a resident of Oakland County in Farmington Hills, Michigan. So today I would like to address the commission in hopes of the new maps having partisan fairness. Let me make sure of having partisan fairness. So the state house map has over a 4% advantage that would clearly favor one party over the other. How fair is that? What I would like to see is the maps having less than a 1% advantage for each of the political parties. So there have been, and there has to be, an equal opportunity for both the Republican and Democratic candidates during elections. And I would like to repeat, there have to be an equal opportunity for both the Republican and Democratic parties during elections. And the only way that can happen is by partisan fairness. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Number 14, Teresa Reed. Teresa, we can't hear you yet.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm participating from Ann Arbor. Sorry about that glitch. First of all, I want to thank you very much for your hard work in a really complicated and challenging task. The name calling by some commenters crying about bullying when we all have the same opportunities to speak highlights for me the difficulty of your work. Like other speakers, I worked hard to pass the anti-gerrymandering Prop 2 in 2018. I want to speak primarily to the point of stressing the constitutional requirement of partisan fairness. The breakdown of our political culture can only be repaired by ensuring that every vote counts. Democracy only works when every voter knows that her vote does make a difference. Like other speakers, I urge you to work until partisan bias scoring is a 0. To this end, I do support Promote the Vote Maps and the AFL-CIO Fair Maps project. I think both astutely address both communities of interest and partisan fairness, which are hard to balance, but partisan fairness first in order to heal our.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 15, Michael Fields.
Michael, if you can unmute, you're free to address the commission.
I thought I had unmuted. Hello, this is Michael Fields from Gladwin County. I would like to thank you for your time and consideration to allowing me to speak before you again today. I have heard a lot of talk in the meetings that I have been in about preserving community of interest. And I acknowledge that community of interest have some import in your decision making. It is not important enough to push those of particular political parties into fewer and fewer districts, making their voices smaller and weaker. This is what some people are wishing to do. It's the way it has been done in the past. No one on this commission should vote to approve a map that gives disproportionate advantage to any one political party. How is any map fair if one party can win the majority of seats while losing the majority of votes? Please make each district as close to zero partisan bias as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 16, Peter Zurn.
Peter, you're unmuted and free to address the commission.
Yes, my name is Peter Zurn from Long Lake Township, Grand Traverse County. I want to first thank the commission for its efforts in this regard. I urge that no map be adopted which on its face suggests gerrymandering. I urge the commission to get as close to zero on the partisan bias scores as possible. The commission should not vote to approve a map that gives a disproportionate advantage to one political party. And finally, I urge fair maps that create a level playing field. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 18, Lucas Camacho.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to address the commission. I am very concerned that I hear the talk is we need fairness, 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 AKA rigging for the Democrats. That was quite a kabuki theater act the AFL-CIO just put out by saying that we need to put in maps that are basically going to rig for Democrats. I don't think Michigan voters voted in this commission to have communities broken up. I think Jackson County, for example, should remain with Hillsdale and Lenawee. That's where we do the Region 2 Planning Commission. If regional planning is good for it, and Whitmer's emergency orders were good for Jackson, Hillsdale, and Lenawee, that clearly shows that we are a COI. Communities of interest are a priority. It is not this partisan fairness. This is an attempt by AFL-CIO, voters, not politicians. Finally, let the record reflect that the Democrats that passed this had the intention of gerrymandering, as all the commenters have spoken. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 19, Sue Haddon.
Hello, thank you for letting me give comments. I'd like to thank the members of the commission for their hard work and success in creating a Senate map, Cherry 2, that has partisan fairness while still considering communities of interest. I'm particularly impressed that you were successful considering the fact that there are so many people trying to sway you in each direction. I am thrilled that I will be in the same district as my friends along the I-94 corridor. The map ensures that there will be no wasted votes, that politicians that represent us will have to be responsive to our community. The map doesn't favor a political party. One person equals one vote, which is the goal of the 14th and 15th Amendments. As you move forward, please protect partisan fairness. And don't let opponents have us move backwards. I'm concerned about the House map, Pine 5, but I have confidence that you will improve it to have the same fairness as the Senate map. Thank you so much. I can't even imagine how hard your job is.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 21, Lucretia Handy.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm Lucretia Handy, resident of Flint Township in Genesee County. Partisan fairness is a community of interest. That is why the people of Michigan voted for the proposal that created the commission. Maps need to include fair representation for Michigan's diverse population. A fair map does not benefit any political party. Communities of interest is not an excuse to pack voters of a particular party into as few districts as possible to weaken our voice. People of color have the right to be heard. And again, please don't forget about Flint. Black folks have rights too, you know, and we want fair representation right along with everyone else. I thank you for all the hard work that you're doing to create fair maps. I know it is a difficult task. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 22, Bridget Cooper.
Participants through number 28 are not present. Apologies, through 27 are not present. So next in line would be number 28.
Very good. Jerry Walden.
Hello, I'm Jerry Walden. Am I on now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. I'm a citizen from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I want to thank you for your work. And I want to also say something about fairness. as many others have. We're all very much wishing that we're going to have a fair maps. The Senate map, Cherry V2 seems to achieve that. I'm glad that Washtenaw and County and Jackson County are united. The congressional and House maps are not are favoring the Republican or minority party and I think you can do better. Promote the Vote has maps that score well on political fairness. I hope you'll look at that. We need to strive hard to attain fairness to help heal our divisions. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 29, Jane Scott.
Jane, if you can unmute, you're free to address the commission.
My name is Jane Scott, and I'm a 32-year resident of the city of Midland. On behalf of the thousands of flood victims in Midland and Gladwin County, I want to thank you for proposing the Pine Version 5 State House map, recognizing our flood recovery and reduction needs. I would ask you to tweak the Apple map at the congressional level to align with these community needs. Currently, there are no congressional maps that do this. In fact, all the congressional maps keep the city of Midland with Flint. Our cities have different social, economic, cultural, and industrial needs. When this commission has heard differing views around the state, you have provided alternative map versions. Please do the same for your congressional maps for Midland. Keep Midland County with Gladwin County in a separate district from Flint. And thank you very much for your time and all your efforts.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 30, Linda Pell.
Hi, my name's Linda Pell, and I'm a long-term resident of Calhoun County. I want to thank the commissioners for taking on this important and complex task. I urge you to keep the cities of Battle Creek and Albion together in the same state house district. Over 16% of our county population is Black, with the overwhelming majority of people of color living in these two cities. Splitting the cities apart greatly diminishes their ability to have a voice in state governance. Many organizations in these two cities share a mission of strengthening the economic, educational, and health prospects of this population, making them a clear community of interest. This state house district is a competitive seat, evidenced by a 50-50 split between Democrats and Republicans elected in the past 3 decades. This district clearly meets the standard for partisan fairness. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 31, Colleen Tawakol.
My name is Colleen Tawakol, and I'm from Brownstown Township in Wayne County. The Michigan State House needs the same partisan fairness and adherence to the Constitution that was shown in drawing the Michigan Senate maps. I appreciate the public comments were considered when drawing the Pine Version 5 map, and I support that map for the State House. Please continue your good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 32, Suzuki.
Good morning. My name is Suzuki, and I'm a resident of Detroit. First of all, I want to thank the Commission for considering our neighborhoods to be put together. That's the east side of Detroit, East English Village, Cornerstone Village, and the Morning side. So I appreciate the fact that they are in the same districts for the House and the Senate, and as well as Congressional District. However, I am concerned that many of the districts on the east side of Detroit are stretched out into Macomb County, and I don't believe this serves the interests of Macomb County residents nor Detroiters. I would appreciate the Commission considering keeping the municipal and county boundaries as part of a consideration. in making these boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 34, Holly Hughes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. For Muskegon County, I would like to see the Apple map. The Apple map will keep the lakeshore communities of interest, with Muskegon being the anchor with Ottawa and Allegan. Please allow counties to stay as whole as much as possible. The other two plans are not conducive to communities of interest. The Birch plan puts Muskegon with an added dozen of non-lakeshore counties. The Chestnut plan, unless gerrymandering is edited out, it should be rejected because it's just carving up the west side. Apple is the best plan of the three. If this commission wants to put Grand Rapids in the Lakeshore District, please keep Muskegon and Ottawa counties whole and place communities of Grand Rapids, Granville, Walker, Sparta, Alpin Township, and Byron Township in it. Please adopt the Apple plan. Thank you for your consideration and have a great day.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 35, Scylla Tomas.
Yes, thank you very much for letting me talk today and for all your hard work. I live in Ann Arbor, and I really like your design of the maps, combining some parts of Ann Arbor with parts of Jackson. It shows a compact map balancing well the constituents of those two towns. I'm really supporting partisan fairness, since otherwise we will get back into gerrymandering. We don't want to put all the constituents voting for a certain party together in one district, so there are only few left for a balanced representation in other districts. This balanced representation helps for moderate politicians to be elected instead of those with extreme views, which is happening right now in some districts in Michigan. They will be better equipped to negotiate agreements with members of the opposing party.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 37, Emma Zeilinga.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hello, my name is Emma Zeilinga. I'm 22 years old and I lived in Southwest Michigan my whole life. Thanks for allowing me to speak today. I want to say that these maps are clearly gerrymandering for Democrats under the guise of partisan fairness. Michigan is not a blue state, we're a purple state. We've elected 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats at the top of the ticket in the past 6 years. Please don't rig the maps in favor of one party or another like you're doing right now. Give everyone equal opportunity to compete and a chance to have their voices heard. This commission was created to draw fair maps. Instead, these maps split cities and communities in unreasonable and partisan ways. These maps are very obviously gerrymandered and far worse than the last maps that the commission proposed. Please don't do this to our state. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 40, Barbara Spice.
Hi, I'm Barbara Spies from Waterford Township, Michigan. I'm, as everyone else, very much would like to speak in support of partisan fairness. I've voted for decades with the maps gerrymandered so that it took 1.5 Democratic votes to elect someone to every 1 Republican vote. So I think partisan fairness has to be uppermost in your mind as you finalize these maps. I do support the Birch map for Waterford Township. It keeps Waterford intact, which hasn't happened in the past, and related to our communities around us that we have similar economic and other interests. So thanks for your work. Thanks for being willing to serve, and thanks for letting me speak. Thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. And 42, number 42, Jennifer Austin.
Jennifer, you're unmuted and free to address the commission.
I'm trying to start my camera. It's like the thing is right over top of it. Okay, there we go. Hello, Jennifer Austin, City of Midland. Yesterday, the commission voted to move forward the Hickory map with the stated goal to improve partisan fairness scores, but it only improved them by decimal points, and that is not enough. I've been watching these meetings closely, and every time the partisan fairness scores are read, my heart sinks. 5% in favor of Republicans is not good enough. I ask that today you take your best partisan fairness maps from each category and improve them with the stated purpose of drastically improving partisan fairness scores. 0 is the goal, though I realize that is improbable. Make whatever changes need to be made, including a Bay City of Midland House district, to make the most fair maps you can possibly create. Respect COIs and other criteria, but do what was stated the other day and give us options. We would like to see a Midland Bay City House district, but most importantly, provide the people with the absolute best partisan fairness scores you can. Give them the option to comment on a map that achieves the purpose of this commission, a map that reflects the electorate of the state, strives towards political fairness, and doesn't benefit one party disproportionate to their voters.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 43, Angela Osborne.
Good morning. I'm a lifelong Taylor resident. And being a lifelong resident of Taylor, Michigan, I'm very concerned about the redistricting maps. Historically, Taylor, we have only had one state representative, and we have shared that representative with Romulus and a small portion of Van Buren Township. Taylor and Romulus are neighbors. We have common, interests so far as Metro Airport. Historically, the south end of Taylor has had a larger concentration of minority voters, which I'm, very afraid that would be not properly represented if we were in fact included with many of the cities south of Taylor. The way that the maps are drawn right now, Taylor would be split up into 3 separate districts. I can honestly believe that if Taylor were to be represented by a representative from Monroe, that person would not understand what our needs would entail. And conversely, how would a state representative in Taylor understand the issues a rural farmer would encounter? I also mentioned
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, my name is Tyrone and basically I just wanted to say thank you so much for making a more partisanly fair state Senate map. And now I just wanted to say that now a fair state House map needs to be drawn more fairly, that a 4.3 efficiency gap is a bit too high and too much favor one party. So I really am urging and asking you to bring that efficiency gap close to 0 as possible, and to really comply with the Voting Rights Act for majority districts, and to follow with the AFL-CIO maps. So thank you really much.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 46, Bill Kipf.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Real quickly, Monroe County and the current House maps you've drawn is sliced up into 4 representative districts. That would be very unfair to the residents of Monroe County. We're much more rural in nature. They have different needs than Wayne County. By taking the northern half of our county, splitting it into 3 and moving part of that into the Wayne County area would give us poor representation and help stymie the economic development plans we have going. We feel we'd be left out and we wouldn't have people that really care about Monroe County. The current situation of 2 House districts has been working very fine and been very helpful for economic growth and for legislation. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 48, Corey Morris.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Corey Morris, and I am a Taylor resident, and I am concerned about the Pine V5 map. The city of Taylor is divided into 3 districts at the state house district level. This division places Taylor residents in the south end of the city, a predominantly Black part of our town, at the mercy of voters all the way down in Monroe, as previous commentators have stated. I would suggest to keep the current district as it stands with Romulus and parts of Van Buren. Taylor has about 60,000 residents and is geographically simple. I hope the commission can keep my hometown together. Thank you very much.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 49, Thomas Hamlin.
That participant is not present. We'll move to number 50.
Okay. Kareem Scales.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to address the commission. I'm a lifelong West Michigan resident, currently in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm also with the Greater Grand Rapids branch of the NAACP. Michigan is a changing state, and maps must be drawn to reflect the full diversity of the state and the growth in communities of color. The current plans are heavily gerrymandered along partisan lines, and they pack Black voters in a few districts and dilute their political representation statewide. Since 2010, there has been a substantial increase in the Black population in several districts. Black population increased in 9 congressional districts. More locally, the Black population increased in 19 state Senate districts and 71 state House districts. Any maps enacted must ensure communities of color are adequately and fairly represented. The current MICRC plans fail to do so. We are in favor of the Apple maps as it relates to Kent County. We do ask that this group comply with the Voting Rights Act. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 53, Margaret Shankler.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, it made me rejoin. I'd like to thank the members of the commission for hard work and success in adapting the Senate map Cherry 2, version 2, that is better for partisan fairness at 2% efficiency gap than the previous maps while still considering communities of interest. But I think some of the speakers who think an efficiency gap of 2 to 4.2% in favor of Republicans is somehow rigging the process in favor of Democrats just points to how accepted partisan gerrymandering is in our state. My current Senate district is 70% Democrat, and I am a Democrat. If my concern was partisanship, I would be unhappy that my district is no longer safe, but I take the purpose of Prop 2 to heart. Fair means fair. It is important for democracy and voter participation that every vote counts. I believe our district has low turnout because things are a sure thing. Like other speakers, I urge you to continue until partisan bias scoring is near zero in all of the maps. To this end, I do support promote the vote map.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 54, Liz Ratzloff.
Hi, my name is Liz Ratzloff. I live and work in Washtenaw County and have lived in Southeast Michigan all of my life. I wanted to thank you for the work that you're doing to reach partisan fairness, particularly in the state Senate map. Unpacking Ann Arbor is really important for partisan fairness, and I urge you to apply the same principles to the House and congressional maps. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 55, Cindy Weir.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Cindy Weir, and I'm from Midland City. And anyway, I just wanted to say this morning that Michigan voters passed Prop 2 to rid our state of a rigged system. I'm so happy that our legislators are not drawing the maps this time around for their own political gain. Anyway, please get to close as zero as possible. If you're over 1%, you need to have more work done. No one on this commission should vote to approve a map that gives a disproportionate advantage to one political party. I trust the commission will do the right thing and tune out all the noise and draw fair maps. Michigan voters expect zero partisan bias from this commission. Competitive government is good government. It would be good for all of Michigan. Thank you for all your hard work, and I trust that you'll do the right thing.
Thank you for that trust. Number 56, Adam Benjamin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, commissioners. Thanks for allowing me to comment on your redistricting efforts. Wanted to thank you for all the work you've put into creating the new maps and prioritizing partisan fairness, especially in the state Senate map Cherry V2. I think that map really demonstrates your commitment to partisan fairness. As a resident of Ypsilanti Township, I'm really happy to see Ann Arbor be unpacked into 2 districts so that my community in Ypsilanti and Ypsilanti Township has more of a voice in our state government. I hope that you will apply the same principles and values of partisan fairness to the state house and federal congressional maps, which I think still have quite a bit of work to be done on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 57. Nope. Number 60, Amara Veer.
Number 60.
Yes, please address the commission.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ravi here. I live in Ypsilanti Township, Washtenaw County. I want to note I'm pleased with the I-94 corridor solution on the Cherry V2 map, as the majority of my family live in Hillsdale County. I believe that it creates an actual possible competition in this new district, as I know many family members who are in a minority party in Hillsdale, or at least some, who wouldn't even bother to run since they'd always lose. I hope that your refined map, as you take our comments into consideration, will ensure that all people, regardless of party, feel empowered to participate in democracy and shape our future. Thank you for the hard work that you're doing, designing our future for the next decade. I've dreamed of this commission existing ever since high school, when I learned how gerrymandered maps dominated so many states, including our own, and I trust you'll aim for low bias scores. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 63, Erica Perisman.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to address the commission today. My name is Erica Perisman and I live in Birmingham. I voted for Prop 2 in 2018, along with millions of other Michiganders. We voted to end partisan gerrymandering and replace it with fair maps. Fair means no political party has an advantage. Neither Republicans nor Democrats should have an advantage in the maps that you are drawing. However, the Pine State House map has a 4.3% efficiency gap. It benefits Republicans on all partisan fairness measures. There are other maps that have been submitted that have been talked about today, the Promote the Vote maps, the AFL-CIO maps, and other maps that achieve way better partisan fairness measures. I know that this is a difficult task. Balancing all of the constitutional requirements is certainly not easy, and you will not be able to make everyone happy.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 64, Viviana.
Viviana, if you can unmute yourself, you're free to address the commission.
Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Viviana. I'm a proud homeowner in the south side of Lansing since 2019. I grew up in the area since the age of 11. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to draw these maps. I'm sure it's been a very difficult task. I would also like to thank you guys for splitting Lansing into 2 Senate seats and for listening to every resident in the Lansing area to unpack the Lansing 5. This will help gap between parties. This is the same type of fairness we need to see across the state. Pine V5 House map has a 4.3 efficiency gap to meet bipartisan support. I would like to see that gap go below 1%, so everyone across the state feels equal representation. Also, please comply with the Voting Rights Act and make sure that there's equal minority and majority representation. We want everybody to feel represented across our state. Please do the right thing for our neighbors and yours and draw the maps fairly and equally and not gerrymandered. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 67, Haig Oshaga.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, commissioners. My name is Haig Oshagan. I'm a professor at Wayne State University, live in Detroit, and have been working with a number of ethnic and minority communities on redistricting. Keeping communities of interest together is a higher priority than issues of partisanship, and I want to strongly commend you for your work in that area. Specifically, I want to commend you for keeping the Latino community of Detroit and Grand Rapids together in all the maps. I also commend you for keeping the Bangladeshi community of Detroit together and prefer congressional maps Apple and Birch for the community. Apple and Birch are also fair to the Armenian community of Detroit. For the Arab community, you have kept the community together in the Apple and Birch maps also and in the Cherry Senate map. Those maps are very good, but the Pine House map splits Dearborn, the heart of the Arab community, between districts 3 and 4. Please fix this and keep Dearborn whole. No matter what changes you end up making to the maps, commissioners, I urge you to keep the Latino, Arab, and Bengali communities of interest together, as you have done so far. This is the third highest priority in drawing maps and essential for fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 68, John.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Election fairness is a major concern among the electorate in the state of Michigan. One person, one vote is the goal. I oppose the proposed redistricting maps on the basis of political gerrymandering. It perpetuates the concerns of the voter fraud and unfairness. I see Oakland County, Macomb, Washington, Wayne counties split up. I favor redistricting that is respectful of the communities. One redistricting in a manner that splits in a manner that splits communities in a manner that perpetuates political fairness. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 69, Daniel Comfort.
Hey there, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time and your work this morning, commissioners. Happy Friday. Sure do appreciate all the hard work that you've done in this important area of our civic life. Dan Comfort here, current resident of Ypsilanti, new homeowner, also a lifelong resident previous to that of Ann Arbor, Michigan. I want to speak out in favor of the current maps in two particular regards. Most importantly, I do want to speak out to the unpacking of Ann Arbor as an overall good. As a resident of Ann Arbor, I can tell you that it's really quite a diverse town, depending upon what part of the town you are in, and those interests can be well represented by unpacking those districts. So I admonish the commission to maintain the unpacking of Ann Arbor. Further, I do want to speak out in favor of the unification of the 94 corridor between Ann Arbor and Jackson. As somebody who spends a lot of time commuting on that 94 corridor, I can speak with quite a bit of confidence saying that those indeed are a united community of interest. Having them together is better for both communities electorally, politically, and culturally. And again, I want to thank the commission very much for their time and hard work. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a nice weekend.
Happy Friday. Number 71, Dinah Shargabian.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. My name is Dina Shergavian-Stuber, and I live in Troy. I wanted to reiterate that these maps will impact us for 10 years, so their importance is tremendous, and I appreciate what you're doing. As it has been noted, these maps must have less than a 1% advantage to any one given party in order to be nonpartisan, yet every proposed map leans Republican by much greater than that. This means these maps are partisan by definition. Even in map Pine version 5, which thankfully keeps Troy whole rather than splitting it, we see a 4% statewide Republican advantage. It's concerning to me that in a Democratic leaning state, we somehow keep ending up with maps that lean Republican. Our state constitution requires that these maps be nonpartisan, and with a little more work, I'm sure that you're going to get there. Thank you for your commitment.
Thank you for addressing the commission. We're going to return to Denise Miller.
Denise, if you can unmute yourself, you're free to address the commission.
Hello. Thank you all for doing all your good work. I was really saddened last night to watch what went on with hurrying up and making maps. I'm very sad to see the Palm map come out because I think it's totally one-sided. And there's a little joke about people eating out of the palm of someone's hand. I think you guys need to do the right thing. I think that a 0 is where we need to be. I voted for Prop 2 because I want to see that 0. I believe that the people in Michigan are tired of gerrymandering, and I think you guys have a job, you're getting paid, and you need to do it right. Don't stand on party lines. Do your job. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now going to return to our in-person public comment. Number 13. When you're ready, sir. You don't. You can address it without
All
the
right,
mask.
thank you, because my glasses will fog up and I can't even see what I wrote. Dear members of the commission, we've been chartered to create fair maps that correspond with the Voting Rights Act and respects legitimate communities of interest. Frankly, politicians could do all this, but we know what the self-interest is and ask you to set that aside. But again, they can get voted out. You're here. Law requires you to have public meetings and protect communities instead of politicians. Again, when you folks meet in private, that hurts. And I ask you to abstain and refrain and just not do that. Michigan does still retain 13 congressional seats, and those seats belong to all of Michigan instead of 3 protected seats for multi-generational politicians whose family in one case has 90+ years in DC. This leaves 10 seats for the remaining 10 million of us. I'm from Ann Arbor. We've been split within Washtenaw County in the Cherry map. The only visible community of interest is reasonable access to I-94 and all the construction barrels.
Thank you for addressing the commission.
Okay.
We'd love to hear you on the public portal. Please submit the rest of your comments.
Super.
On the public
Thank
portal.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So we'll return now to our live remote public comment, which is number 72, Judy Herrick.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Thank you. Hello, commissioners. I'm Judy Herrick from Caledonia, Michigan. I don't know much about the rest of the Birch map, but I do know that the configuration in West Michigan is unacceptable. The map already has a high bias in favor of the Republican Party and completely disenfranchises minority communities in Muskegon, Kalamazoo, and Grand Rapids. I supported voters, not politicians, and I really do support the work you are doing on the commission. I urge you to please fix West Michigan. The Apple and Chestnut maps provide some options for how to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 73, Andrew Chicatel.
Hi there. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. I just want to thank you guys for the work that you're doing and letting me speak. I do want to push back against some of these assertions that these partisanly fair maps are somehow gerrymandered. I think that some folks are just used to having the maps stacked in their favor, and if they can't win on fair maps, then that's theirs to deal with. I want to, I know I'm beating a dead horse when I say that partisan fairness is important and that a 4.3% efficiency gap is just unacceptable. You got close to it, close to 0 on the Senate map, and I think that we can do it on the House map as well. Let's just get those numbers down to 0.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 74, Sonia Patrick.
That participant is not present.
Thank you. Do we have Mari Reimer? Okay, number 75.
Hello, hi, my name is Mari Reimer. I'm from Ypsilanti. I'd like to thank you for your work in drawing a more partisanly fair state Senate map. Thank you for taking our feedback seriously and making corrections. I ask that you please do the same with the state House map and reduce the 4.3 efficiency gap. Our Constitution mandates that districts shall not provide a disproportionate advantage to any political party. A 4.3 efficiency gap in favor of one party is still too high. I also thank you for listening to the voices of residents in Detroit and to please continue complying with the Voting Rights Act while drawing the maps. Another way to improve democracy is to stop the process of prison gerrymandering, at least in the state House and state Senate, if not at the congressional level. Because our state laws already require counties, cities, and towns to exclude people in state prisons who are not residents of the city or county for election purposes. So that practice should be the same on the state and House Senate levels. The Redistricting Committee in Pennsylvania has already acted on its own to count incarcerated people at the.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 76, Max Lewis.
Hi, commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I just want to start by saying thank you all so much for the incredible amount of work you have put into it at this point. I know that this has been a long slog of a process, but we are really grateful for your dedication, even as the maps get more complicated and the decisions get harder. I do want to just remind you all, though, that partisan fairness should not be sacrificed for the sake of communities of interest. As we all know, communities of interest are inherently a subjective measure. So saying that we should dismiss a quantitative measure of partisan fairness for the sake of subjectivity is not in line with the Constitution, and it violates sort of the spirit of this entire commission and the Voters Not Politicians movement, which is the reason we're all here. Lastly, I just want to say that partisan imbalance in our maps has been a plague for our state for generations. In my opinion, you all are heroes. If you can fix this, please stay vigilant, please stay on top of it, and don't settle or compromise for anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 77, Micah Perkins. Bless you. Get them tight.
Micah, if you can unmute yourself, you're free to address the
I
commission.
apologize. Thank you. Sorry about that. My name is Micah Perkins, and I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Thank you for the extra work you put in for the Grand Rapids area in the State House and State Senate maps. Our community is very well represented on those final maps. My concern is with the congressional maps. All three still have a very heavy Republican bias and are unacceptable from a partisan fairness perspective. I urge you to continue working on another congressional map option that is more fair and balanced. It's important that my area of the state has at least an equal chance for partisan fairness, which it hasn't had for such a long time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 78, Anastasi Manalatos.
Hi, my name is Anastasi, and I'm a resident of Chesterfield Township. I want to thank you for your work on the more partisanly fair state Senate map. I also encourage you to increase the partisan fairness of the state House maps. 4.3% efficiency gap is too high in favor of the Republican Party. I also wish you to encourage to continue to adhere to the Voting Rights Act when regarding Southeast Michigan districts, in particular regarding Detroit. That being said, I also want to address a few previous comments regarding that partisan fairness is gerrymandering. If you consider partisan fairness gerrymandering, then you have been clearly reflecting of the fact that you have been benefiting from the previous gerrymanders by the Republican-dominated legislature that have drawn their own maps. So if partisan fairness is, again, gerrymandering to you, you are reflective of the problem of gerrymandering. So that said, please adhere to the Voting Rights Act. Please consult the AFL-CIO's Fair Maps project for redrawing the State House and potentially the State Senate. Submit the maps or consult them at your wishes, but please use those maps as the basis for the finishing up your work. Thank you for your time and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 79, Jill.
Good morning. In regard to the current Michigan House Pine map, I'm dumbfounded by the deliberate dissection of counties that should remain intact. Allegan County, population 120,000, is being divided into 6 districts. Lenawee County, population 99,000, is being divided into 4 districts. I realize that those counties need to have some of their constituents in a different district, but this is ridiculous. As for districts 11 through 19, what would possess you to think it's a good idea to cross county lines when there is no justification to do so? No one wants their communities chopped up. In both of these cases, how can any representative effectively represent their constituents? You are literally breaking up communities for the sake of partisanship, which results in serious gerrymandering. And yes, that can actually happen to the person who just spoke before me. If that's what this commission was tasked to do, then I would like my vote back and I'd like common sense restored. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 80, Kyle Stefanski.
Yes, hello, my name is Kyle Stefanski. I'm a lifelong Michigander who was born and raised in Warren. I just want to say that I really appreciate all the hard work the commission has put into making these maps. I know the work has been tiresome and sophisticated. And I want to thank you all for proposing the state Senate map Cherry that reflects decent partisan fairness. Unfortunately, there is a lack of partisan fairness in your proposed state house map Pine. The current proposed state house map Pine has a 4.3 efficiency gap that is much too high. This 4.3 efficiency gap unfairly favors one party. Please draw a state house map that brings the efficiency gap as close to 0 as possible so that we have partisan fairness. And remember, partisan fairness is not gerrymandering. Also, please ensure that you are complying with the Voting Rights Act, particularly in regards to districts containing Detroit. I urge you to look at the AFL-CIO's Fair Maps project maps for more information. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 81, Alex Bourget.
Good morning, Commission. Thank you for your excellent work on this very difficult task. I'm from Ypsilanti, and in my opinion, this proposed district map is a substantial improvement, especially District 15, which is along the I-94 corridor. I'd like to, I guess, speak to the folks who have commented that people living in these areas don't have any interests in common. I could not disagree more. I-94 is one of, if not the busiest and most vital corridors in the state, especially when it comes to logistics and the distribution of vital goods. During this time of unprecedented supply chain problems, I think it's more important than ever to shore up our communities along this corridor and to, really focus on our similarities more than our differences. I think we have a tremendous amount of interests in common. And again, I applaud you for doing such a wonderful job in this very difficult task.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 82, Christopher Grauenstadt.
Christopher, you're unmuted and free to address the commission.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for your time and efforts here. First, I want to appreciate the efforts that are represented in Pine Map version 5. I'm a resident of Troy, Michigan, and I'm delighted to see that my community remains intact in that version of the map. Secondly, I would also echo the comments made by many others about the importance of partisan fairness. Despite my comments about maintaining my community of interest in Troy. I think the overriding priority and the entire intent of an anti-gerrymandering effort is directed around partisan fairness. So I would encourage you to keep moving with those efforts. Again, thank you for all of your time and effort in this task, which can sometimes be mundane and thankless, but know that many of us support the work you're doing and look forward to the final results of being fair and balanced. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Number 83, Tyler Wagonmaker.
Good morning. I'm Pastor Tyler Wagonmaker. I'm a lifelong resident of Ottawa County, longtime pastor here. I want to talk about briefly the three congressional maps, the apple, birch, and chestnut. The apple map, just first of all, thank you, thank you, thank you. I look at that map and I'm like, you really get West Michigan in that map. And I so appreciate the apple map and the thoughtfulness of it, and especially really recognizing West Michigan for what it is, a really unique, special place. The birch map, I guess, still awful on the birch map. It's awful because my small congregation, again, is divided into 3 congressional districts, separate ones. And I don't have a large congregation, 3 different congressional districts. I'm like, oh, the chestnut map. Again, I look at this map and I say, it looks like someone has a manipulative political agenda when I look at this map. And I said, this isn't what we wanted at all as citizens. So
thank you for addressing the commission. Number 84, Tina Catrone. We can't hear you yet.
Hi there. My name is Tina Catron. I live in Troy, Michigan. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak with the commission today. I appreciate all your hard work during this process. I'm sure that this is and will continue to be a daunting task. First, I want to say that I agree with many of the comments that have been made here today. It has been very educational to learn about the concerns in other communities. Because I live in Troy, Michigan, I think the overall goal should be to create fair partisanship within the maps, mainly to respect county lines. So as an example, the chestnut map in the State House group of maps, groups, it shows like what we want to see in this area. So Oakland County communities should not be grouped with Macomb County communities. So my recommendation to the committee is to draw the maps without partisan bias.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 85, Joan Weaver.
That participant is not present.
Very good. Do we have number 86? Alexis.
Hello, my name is Alexis. I'm a lifelong Michigan resident, and I just want to thank you all for your hard work. I know that this has not been an easy process, and we're all still learning as we go. We saw so much for improvement in regards to partisan fairness for the state Senate map, and I'm really happy with the way that the commission has clearly listened to the public about how important partisan fairness is and unpacked the Lansing 5. It's so important for our democracy for you to keep that same energy and try to get the efficiency gap down as close to 0 as possible, because while 4.3% is better than it was before, it's still too high. This is not gerrymandering. It is ensuring a fair process and giving everybody an equal voice. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 87, Sarah Woolsey.
Hello, commissioners. My name is Sarah, and I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I took a look at the congressional maps that were submitted for final approval along with the comments on those maps. Each map, I'm sure as you know, has a mix of positive and negative comments. And we also have heard that about each one of those maps here today. I figure that if you improve partisan fairness, keep the communities of interest together that you're hearing about, and increase the chances of consensus. Although the Birch map does appear better overall, it does split up minority communities here in West Michigan into separate congressional districts, and none of these are competitive. The west part of the Apple map does the best job at keeping communities of color together and maintaining overall partisan balance, and the Chestnut map does a good job as well. So I put together two maps and submitted them to the portal for consideration. The ID is P8747. One map is a combination Apple Birch map, and another is a combination Chestnut Birch map. Please consider making one or both of these maps available as final options. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 88, Jacob Inocencio.
Good morning, Commission. My name is Jacob Inocencio, and I was born and raised in Jackson County. Since May, you've gotten a ton of comments from both counties near me, Jackson and Washtenaw County, in support of connecting Jackson and Arbor along the I-94 economic community of interest. You're getting an organized attack against you this week from mostly partisan, current and former elected Republicans and campaign operatives, and including the county GOP chair. And I just think it's important to know this is an organized effort against my community of interest and against your hard work, which is outlined to do the exact opposite of what is being contested here. So I just think it's really important that you know that. I think if the politicians are upset with you on either side, then you're doing your job because they want this safe seat, and you are working against that for the sake of voters and for the sake of partisan fairness. So I just want to thank you for your work and thank you for your efforts on this. And as a new young voter, I really appreciate it.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 89, Karen Santelli.
Hello, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Karen Santelli from Cascade Township again. I'm so glad you listened to the Cascade community and making the changes we asked for in the State House and State Senate plans. Thank you. Thank you. You're truly listening. I just wanted to make some brief comments about the congressional map for West Michigan. I really like the Apple version 2 map. I think it's the best for West Michigan and keeping Ottawa County whole and combining the very similar cities of Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo. I think Apple is great. However, I do understand it's not popular outside of West Michigan. I've been hearing comments in following these meetings about Birch map being more favored there. And I encourage you just to look at taking the best of both worlds and don't throw out the good with the bad. So I like Apple V2 for West Michigan, and maybe look at components of Birch for the other part of the state for creating your congressional maps. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Before we move on to the next one, I just want to acknowledge that we do have our chair back here with us, who's joined the meeting at 10:35. So Catherine Dalaga, please go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Catherine Dalaga, residing in Ypsilanti City. Thank you all for your time and dedication to this challenging undertaking. Today, I offer qualified support for the state Senate maps, Cherry version 2 and Linden. These improve somewhat over earlier maps on partisan fairness metrics, and I endorse their divisions of Washtenaw County. The state House and congressional maps as proposed, however, still need work. I'll suggest, for example, that all of tiny Huntington Woods be in one House district. Based on standard fairness metrics, it appears all the published maps, in fact, still lean unduly Republican. Proposal 2 is designed to create a process for fair redistricting. Fair districts create the realistic chance for the party winning the most votes statewide to win the most seats. I urge you to honor the principles behind Prop 2, create maps that eliminate partisan bias, fulfill the mandates of the Voting Rights Act. Thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you for that appreciation. 91, Elizabeth Benye.
Hi, Elizabeth Benye from Calumet, Michigan. And I appreciate the hard work and you rising to the challenge of the work that was ahead of you. I would like to recommend that you really work hard at trying to avoid the partisanship in the state congressional maps. The late, great, highly respected Ronald Reagan abhorred partisan gerrymandering and racial gerrymandering. There are numerous videos on YouTube that you can see where he speaks to these issues. Although your work is nearly done, the task is still not completed. Please work very hard at trying to address the partisan bias that is in the the state congressional maps. Thank you for your hard work and despite all the challenges on behalf of the voters.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 92, Alan Scott Ells.
Did I do it? I did it. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You did it.
Okay. My name is Alan Ells. I'm a resident of Saginaw County, Michigan. I want to speak in support of the proposed plans that you've done with the goals of partisan fairness and getting the partisan fairness scores as low as possible. The commission was given a difficult task: revise districts to be fair to both parties. In essence, you're recommitting to a purer form of democracy where ideas contest and money is less of a dominant factor than it is now. The proposals I've heard discussed this morning undoubtedly are not perfect, but they're worlds ahead of what we have now, where too often one's vote is made meaningless by gerrymandering and the candidates of one party are virtually guaranteed victory. The goal is to be neutral. I come from Massachusetts, which is the inventor of gerrymandering. And I encourage you to recognize that in the long run, it's not healthy. It was not healthy there.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 93, Daniel Mahoney.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Daniel Mahoney. I am born and raised in Jackson, Michigan. And this Tuesday, the people of Jackson elected me as mayor in a nonpartisan election. I was disappointed to learn that some of you are stereotyping our entire county and trying to give all of our representation to the same community of interest, rural voters, who are less than half of the population of our county. Jackson County's rural voters got their representation in the congressional map, and I am happy for them. Urban and suburban Jackson voters have asked to be put in with Ann Arbor and other cities along I-94 in the state Senate, but some of you want to take our representation away. Please do not allow one community of interest, which already has its representation, to veto ours. Please do not stereotype Jackson out of fair representation. Please hear our voices. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 94, Bridget Bly.
Excuse me, sorry. My name is Bridget Bly, and I'm from Ann Arbor. We in Ann Arbor are tired of being packed into dense districts when in truth, the people who work at the university, who work at the hospital and have interests in common with downtown Ann Arbor come from an area that extends outward in all directions. So go with maps that split Ann Arbor. This is in the interests of the wider community. We deserve our votes to count as much as anybody else's. I would also note that partisan fairness is not to be interpreted as fair enough not to be thrown out by the courts. So we'd like partisan fairness to be actually fair. I also want to say what an absolute joy it has been to watch you take into account the tens of thousands of Michiganders from all over the state who brought their concerns to you. This is so different from the totally secret and politicized process that happened in 2011. And mostly I want to say, please be successful. We need you to succeed at this task. So please, you are the heroes of 2021.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 96, Julie Carey.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes.
Yes, I've been watching your hearings. You have called out Republicans for participating in the process. Yet all the maps proposed for the city of Midland and Midland County come directly from the Midland County Democrats' talking points. With the exception of the Pine V5 State House map, there are no state senate or congressional maps that keep the city of Midland with the rest of the county and the district with our Gladwin neighbors. Midland's flood recovery and reduction needs are not partisan. As we've said, since this process began in May, the flood waters don't care what party was voted for. But what does matter is that making sure all of our voices are heard and that our area maps are representative of our community and its needs. With that, please tweak your state Senate map and Apple congressional map to include all of Midland and Gladwin counties in districts together and separate from Flint. All voices need to be heard.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 98, Marcy Paul.
Good morning. I'm Marcy Paul from West Bloomfield, and I've been watching this process intently because I strongly supported Prop 2, like millions. And I was tired, like most people speaking today, of seeing the party that got the most votes statewide continue to be in the minority in the House, both the House and Senate, State House and Senate. And this remains my main concern because the flawed analysis that you're using is producing the very issues that we tried to solve in Prop 2. For instance, if you look at using the 2016 election, if it was applied to your current House map, Republicans won by 10,000 votes and would have an at least 18-seat majority. But if the 2018 results were applied, where the Democrats won by a far more substantial 10% of the vote, they would have the same 18-seat majority.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 99, Yvette McElroy.
Hello. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right, good morning. The commission has heard from hundreds of people asking for better representation for Detroit. Now that your experts say that you can go over 50% for the number of Black voters in the district, this should make it much easier for you to make the necessary changes to improve representation for Detroit. It seemed that what was holding you back from making big changes was your interpretation of the VRA. We want communities of interest considerations you gave to the rest of the state. There's been plenty of testimony from people who have talked about neighborhoods and local communities that exist within the city. Listen to your Detroit commissioners. Look to the AFL-CIO maps for inspiration. They reflect our city well. We need you to redraw Detroit. You cannot approve a map that doesn't accurately reflect the communities that exist within Detroit. Redraw Detroit. You spent hours debating other communities around the state like Midland and Ann Arbor. We'd like to see that same thoughtful care and consider.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 100, Douglas Helserman.
Hello, Doug Helserman. Glad to be number 100. Thank you for your work. I ask you to keep Livingston County whole. I ask also on behalf of our people here in Livingston County that when the commissioner maps are issued and given, that they become available to the public as quickly as possible so that people can look at them when they need to. I just also ask that when these maps are taken in, that they're not taken in from outside people. And I think it would be very unfair that we come down to draw the map out of the hat. If we draw the map out of the hat, all of your work in my mind would be very almost as nothing. And so come to a.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 102, Art Reyes.
Morning. My name is Art Reyes. I'm a lifelong Michigander and resident of Genesee County. First, I'd like to speak in support of the Cherry Map version 2. And to thank you guys again, as I have in the past, for the hard work that you're doing. You've had a lot to unwrap from really the last 20 years where we've had gerrymandered districts. So of course, some people are going to be very upset that the maps no longer look the way that they did when they were purely politically motivated. And unfortunately, these same people are also the ones who have introduced and forwarded voter suppression bills in the state house and state senate here in Michigan. We need to make sure that we are getting to a point where every district is competitive so we can have work that's done for the people of Michigan and not for one particular party or the other. So please continue to attempt to get partisan advantage as close to 0% as possible. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is Connie Cook, number 104.
Good morning. I'm Connie Cook. I'm a Voters Not Politicians volunteer, and I have spoken to you before. Today, I want to point out that your success with redistricting will be judged in the future by the public, by the media, by historians, by only one number, and it's the partisan fairness number. If you get it down to 0 or very close to 0 in all the maps, the story will be that Michigan's redistricting process succeeded. If you don't, they'll say you just created new gerrymandered maps to replace the old ones. That one number is what really matters, so please prioritize it. And thanks for the great work you are doing. I'm so grateful that you're not engaging in partisan bickering. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 105, Lisa Dorado.
I'm Lisa Dorado from Northville, Michigan. I'm a Democrat, but I'm not asking you to draw maps that favor Democrats or maps that favor Republicans. As yesterday's NBC News article stated, Republicans are trying to manipulate your commission in their favor by concentrating on communities of interest. These pack Democrats and prevent partisan fairness. Don't let them manipulate you. Fair districts help both parties by minimizing the election of extremists. Michigan has seen a rise in extremists after 10 years of gerrymandering. On January 6th, America saw an insurrection by an extremist faction. Stop the cycle now, draw fair districts. It's good for Republicans and Democrats. It's good for Michigan. Most importantly, it's imperative for our democracy.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 106, Anne Van Hoel.
Hi, my name is Anne Van Hall and I live in Midland County. I know you have heard a lot of comments these past few months, and from watching these hearings, you've done a good job of offering communities alternative versions of maps. I'm sorry. When there are differing views. Unfortunately, for the thousands of flood victims of Midland and Gladwin County, there are no congressional maps that keep the entire counties of Midland and Gladwin together. In fact, there are no congressional maps that separate the city of Midland from Flint. Please don't discriminate against our community by not offering us the same consideration. Please tweak your Apple congressional map to give the victims of Midland and Gladwin counties a chance to have their voices heard. We need unified representation at the congressional level. Midland and Gladwin counties should be kept whole and together in a congressional district that is separate from Flint. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 109, Kalila.
Good morning. First, let me thank you for your service. My name is Kalila Spencer, and I am a homeowner in the West Bloomfield Township since 2004, and I live in a gerrymandered district. I also serve as chair of the Legal Redress Committee for the Michigan State Conference NAACP and board secretary for the Detroit branch NAACP, and the pleasure of serving as board president for Promote the Vote. Promote the Vote is not a political organization. Promote the Vote has gone to great lengths not to get caught up in the commission's politics. Instead, what we tried to do is serve as a resource. And we know that there's a clear path to fair and equitable representation for all Michiganders, and we fully expect the commission to follow it. I encourage you to consider Promote the Vote's congressional and House maps in your final deliberations, because those maps are fair and equitable. While no map can be perfect, our congressional and House maps do a much better job of ensuring adequate and fair representation for communities of interest and making sure that no political party has an unfair advantage. Please submit those maps to the final portal for consideration. And again, thank you for your service.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Rosa Holiday.
Rosa, if you can unmute, you're free to address the commission.
Good morning. I'm Rosa Holiday, resident of Michigan, of Bay City, and I'm very concerned about having fair representation. We have a chance through you to receive that. So far, our maps have been favoring Republicans by a large margin. And so that should be changed. We've been gerrymandered for over decades. And if you can draw maps that reflect a zero bias, and that would be great for all of us here in Michigan. And so I want to thank you for the maps that the Birch version 2 congressional map for our area, the Cherry version 2 Senate map, and you can work on that Pine House map. But thank you so much, commissioners, for your work. And I really appreciate what you're doing. Just do the right.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Amanda Oster, number 113.
Amanda, if you can unmute, you're free to address the commission.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners Wagner, Lang, and Clark for hearing the voices of thousands of flood victims like myself in Midland and Gladwin counties and working to put forward the Pine V5 State House map. I would encourage you to take another look at the congressional maps to put forward an option that keeps Midland and Gladwin counties in their entirety together in one district. There are currently no congressional maps that do this. All of the proposed versions put the city of Midland with Flint. Flint has competing interests from ours and will dilute the voices of thousands who need this unified representation. Please tweak your maps. Keep Midland and Gladwin counties together and in a separate district from Flint. Over half of our community voices have been completely dismissed. Please give Midland a congressional district that puts Midland back together and in a separate district from Flint. Our communities are vastly different. Why are there no alternative maps that provide this option for the public's consideration? Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is number 114, Richard Williamson.
I am Richard Williamson from Granville in Kent County. Thank you for your work on the State House maps. Your work on Pine Map version 5 truly reflects the public comments of West Michiganders and creates fair and representative districts. Thank you. It is appreciated. As you finalize the state Senate maps, please refer to public comment and keep Ottawa County mostly whole and Kent County mostly whole. When you draw Kent County districts, please do not combine far outlying farmland with downtown Grand Rapids. They do not share much in common. Rather, include the Greater Rockford School District, which is largely composed of suburban developments. This is a much better community of interest. Map P8747 best achieves this. Again, thank you for your work creating Pine Map version 5 for the State House. Please carry that same attention to detail to your state Senate maps and refer to map P8747. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is number 115, Robert Dindoffer.
I am on, but I don't have the link. It's not. What's going
We
on?
can hear you. We can hear you. So we can hear
Oh,
you.
great. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'll start. I would like to request that you take a look at some of the Detroit neighborhoods and some of the Macomb County neighborhoods in the state Senate map to make a few minor shifts that'll make some communities whole. The first one is in the north end of Detroit. North end neighborhood should be made whole. You could do this by shifting a little bit of population from 5 to 6, basically making those Detroit neighborhoods on the north end whole, which was requested at the TCF Center. By the way, the end result of these shifts will be that more of the Chaldean community can be put together in Sterling Heights as well. But step 2 is to make Macomb Township whole by moving population from 5 to 2. That'll make another community whole. Third step, either make Shelby Township or Oakland Township whole by moving population from 16 to 2 in the state Senate. And then the fourth one, with move population in Sterling Heights from 6 to 16 to move more of the Chaldean.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 116, Megan R.
Good morning, commissioners. First and foremost, I want to thank you for everything that you've been doing so far in this process. I'm not here to talk specifically about maps, but more about the process of you guys moving forward. I know that the commission is going to have a conversation today related to individual commissioners submitting maps for the Monday deadline. And I just would encourage you, under the wonderful stance of transparency that you had so far, that if you guys continue to have the deadline Monday at noon, that Monday afternoon, that those shape files and all of the information for the maps submitted by the individual commissioners be published on the website for the public. Thank you guys for your time, and appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is 117, Yusuf.
Hello, commissioners. Good morning. It's Yusuf from Troy. I support maps Apple V2 and definitely Magnolia for house map. I do appreciate Commissioner Eid for being persistent and giving Chaldeans a bigger voice in the Magnolia map. Thank you all commissioners for approving Magnolia for publication. I just want to thank you all for all your hard work. You commissioners did a phenomenal job on this impossible task. It is music to my ears to hear speakers from both major parties complain about your maps. As I said the first time I spoke, you know you are doing your job when both parties complain. Please only approve the current maps that were collaborative and published. You don't want that nightmare scenario that was discussed yesterday. A reminder, community of interest is a higher priority than efficiency gaps, and it is not a subjective measure. I'm not subjectively Chaldean. Thank you again for all your hard work. I'll continue praying for each one of you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Number 118, Jake S.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thanks. So yeah, you folks have been putting a lot of work. This has been certainly a long call today, so thanks for that. I would also like to ask for the commissioners' individual maps and shape maps to be posted after the noon deadline on Monday. So yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk. Appreciate it.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is number 119, Daryl. Oh, I'm going to kill it. So we're just going to say Daryl C.
Daryl, if you can unmute yourself, you're free to address the commission. Daryl, if you can hear me, if you can unmute yourself, you're free to address the commission. It looks like Daryl may be experiencing audio issues. I would recommend we move on to the next participant.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Next in line is 120, Joanne.
Am I speaking now? Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm Joanne Ladio. I'm a resident of Washtenaw County. And as a citizen, I'm very grateful that you have made this commitment, especially that you are soliciting and listening to feedback like this. I'm speaking in support of the current state Senate drawing Cherry V2 for District 14. As a Chelsea resident, I appreciate having the rural areas balanced out with the cities along the I-94 corridor. These rural and city residents actually have a lot in common, and this will help us find that. I'm pleased to see that the positive comments on the map for this district far outweigh the negative. Thank you very much.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is 121, Mark Payne.
All right. Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for your work. My name is Mark Payne. Please take advantage of submitting individual maps. You can now in your submitted now in your individual maps have a robust VRA analysis that includes voting patterns, voting participation, primary data for the chamber you are working in, and the history of Black representation in Michigan, which must be studied and applied. Finally, your VRA lawyer has said you can have 55% PVAP for community's purpose. I look forward to your maps. Please make these available to the public on the portal and the My Districting aspect as well. My community, Detroit, has true political cohesiveness. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. Next in line is 126, Pamela.
I am sorry. Today, I am Pamela Pugh, and I am the Vice President of the Michigan State Board of Education and the chair of the Michigan State Conference NAACP Health and Education Committees. Today, I asked the commission to continue to improve the maps drawn to make sure that the voices of the community of interest, yet fighting for their government systems to protect their health, water, air, and land, and ensures them access to an equitable education and economy is not weakened. The community of interest, where the median household income is upward of 2.5 times less than that of the state, poverty is upward of 3.5 times greater, and African American Hispanic population is 2 to 3 times greater. The community of interest, where residents experience adverse health conditions at higher rates, whether we are talking COVID-19, infant mortality, asthma, childhood lead poisoning, cancer, etc. A community of interest where over 65 years after Brown versus Board of Education, children still had to sue their government for a right to literacy, schools, classrooms with teachers, books, heat.
Thank you for addressing the commission. That concludes our public comment for this morning. However, I would like to mention that all emailed and mailed public comment is provided to the commission before each meeting. And the commissioners also review the public comment portal on our www.michigan.gov/MICRC website on a regular basis. We appreciate everyone who provides public comment in whatever means they mean to choose to do so, and invite you to keep sharing your thoughts, communities of interest, and maps. As has been our practice, without objection, we will, I'm sorry, Commissioner Witches?
I'm not objecting to normal practice of taking a break, but I do want to see if it would be appropriate to discuss the amended items on the agenda first before we go into our mapping process today, after we return.
I guess I'm thinking about for myself, I'm a little nervous about it. And what I'd like to start up is like with a positive thing. I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm not, that's my personal, like, I'd like to finish mapping and then do it like we did yesterday.
But this definitely affects mapping.
That's fair.
And I think it needs to be discussed before we map.
Okay.
But again, we can, talk about that once we return. So.
Okay. Rhonda, did you have something to say? Oh, I see you.
I was just going to say I would be in favor of that also.
Okay, so without objection, we will now stand in recess for 15 minutes. It's currently, what? Donuts, 11:07 a.m. So we will be back at, what do we want to say? No, let's say 11:20. Okay, as chair of the commission, I recall this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission back to order at 11:22. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Sorry about that.
Commissioners, please stay present when I call your name. If you're attending today's meeting remotely, please announce during roll that you are attending remotely, as well as where you are physically attending from. I'll call on commissioners in alphabetical order, starting with Doug Clark.
Present.
Juanita Curry. Anthony Eid. Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
11 commissioners are present and there is a quorum.
All right. 1 second. Okay, so
Madam Chair,
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to move to new business items that were amended to the agenda.
So before you do that, because approving the mapping process, which is 6A, might alter based on 6B, do we want to just go straight to 6A and then revisit 6? I'm sorry, the other way, go straight to 6B.
6B, then 6A.
Okay. General Counsel.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning to the commission. And I apologize, the 6A is the mapping process or the discussion for clarity?
The 6A is the mapping process.
Okay, and so I would just offer that commissioners have requested I've spoken to litigation counsel. They're preparing a memo regarding the questions presented yesterday at the meeting. I will have that opinion by Monday morning, and we'll distribute it to the full commission immediately upon receipt. Therefore, I would recommend that you hold both discussions in abeyance to Monday, that you set a meeting on Monday, so that way the commission can have the relevant discussion and proceed on the advice of litigation counsel. So again, that would apply to both the discussion on the motions that were acted on yesterday, as well as the mapping process document, which is proposed to be modified based on those motions. So I would just offer those recommendations for the body's consideration. Thank you.
General Counsel, is there any reason why we just couldn't push it to our next scheduled meeting, which I think is the Monday prior? Don't we have one? No. When is our next meeting? November 18th.
So, Madam Chair.
So 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So the issues as captured are whether in regard to the submission of individual maps by Monday at noon, and whether those maps go forward with or without the individual maps going forward with or without a commission vote. So I would offer that the commission would need to have that guidance prior to Monday at noon, and that the commission would need to receive and react to that guidance before the individual commissioner maps would be published. So I don't believe, I would not advise waiting until 2 weeks after the deadline to submit.
Go ahead, Commissioner Witches.
My only question to that is, if the deadline's at noon and we have a meeting at noon and we have a whole bunch of public comments to get through,
yeah,
and it goes past noon, then we blow past the deadline and then we push everything back.
So,
well, so my thought on that is, because of that, because of what she's suggesting, realistically, individual commissioners are still going to have their maps in by noon. And if we pivot on that decision and say, well, that wasn't necessary, that's not preventing anyone from in December. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that realistically, we're going to have them by then anyway. And if it turns out that mistake was an error and we want to change it, then there's no harm and no foul on having them published, because we still have the ability in December to then bring them. So that would be my thought process, is that Monday is not going to give people, if they haven't, haven't done their map, enough time to get it done. So
Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
can jump in, so that's, thank you for those thoughts. So the reason, and I'll just give my impression. So Monday at noon is when the commission self-imposed a deadline to have maps submitted. So you'll be receiving your legal opinion prior to that. Even if you meet after 12 noon, if the action of publishing or not publishing, or how the individual maps are published or not published, and by that I mean whether they're going forward automatically, whether it needs a commission vote, all of those questions, the answers, you will have those answers by that time. So those decisions, again, if you needed to modify a decision, if you wanted to say, no, we're good, we're publishing everything in this manner. But if you're not in a meeting, you won't have the opportunity as a full body to do that. So it has to be in a meeting. And again, the publication at noon or the deadline of noon is just the deadline at noon. Again, because you're anticipating this legal memorandum, it would not be appropriate to publish anything or to do anything until the commission reacts to it.
Commissioner Lang.
With all due respect, I would kind of like to know before Monday. There's been calls that have gone out to our mapping people, and it just seems like if it's not of dire, if we don't have to hurry, and if we can wait till after the 45 days, if we don't come to an agreement, then submit the maps. It just seems like knowing one way or the other, the sooner the better, and waiting till Monday just seems like a waste to me, but whatever the commission wants.
General Counsel.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. That's an excellent question, Commissioner Lang. So let me be clear. No, the commission has voted to have Monday at noon be the deadline for commissioners to submit individual maps. What I'm saying is that the commission should proceed under that because it was a duly adopted motion during yesterday's session. What I'm saying is that that the commission should have the benefit of the legal opinion that is requested before action is taken, whether to publish those or whether to not publish those. But I think creating the maps for those commissioners that want to do so should be done and should be submitted Monday by noon. It's just the question of moving forward at that point. I hope that was clearly stated. The question about December 30th, I would encourage everyone to see these as completely independent questions going forward. So what is going to be addressed on Monday is the individual commissioner maps and the manner in which those move forward to the 45 days of public comment. And that is separate and apart from, again, the subsection 14 and the questions there, because that is at the end of the 45 days. So for litigation counsel's purposes and addressing the commission's immediate needs, the individual maps and going into the 45 days is what you'll receive guidance on Monday. And I would encourage again that a meeting be scheduled on Monday so that the commission has the benefit of the legal guidance and then can ascertain at that time, after having that guidance, how it would like to proceed, which again, maybe publish the individual maps and they just move forward. I certainly don't have any presupposition what the memo will say because I'm not writing it.
Okay, so I'm assuming Baker Hostetler will be available on Monday during our meeting to answer commissioner questions.
Madam Chair, I can definitely I can definitely put that question to them. I did not ask that question in our meetings. I'm certainly happy to do so. I would, however, indicate that the guidance will be provided under privilege.
Yep.
And so if the commission would like to discuss those attorney-client communications, that would need to be convened in closed session.
Okay. Commissioner Lett.
Well, to the last comment, that's totally inappropriate. All of these discussions regarding these questions have taken place in open meetings, and the advice that I expect to get from Baker Hostetler should certainly be also in an open meeting. There's nothing here that we're discussing that hasn't been discussed and talked about. We're not talking about litigation strategy. We're talking about an issue that has been brought before us and before the public, and they've heard it. The second question is, has Baker Hostetler been presented with a written list of questions to respond to? General Counsel, that's a question.
Go ahead, General Counsel.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. To Commissioner Let's questions, yes, and certainly you can have non-privileged discussions in open session, but I would disagree. I think that when your litigation counsel is identifying legal risks and issues, that would, in fact, you would not want to have that conversation in open session. But certainly there are in your Voting Rights Act counsel and I have had numerous discussions of topics in open session. But if you were going to have a discussion about the privileged materials, then definitely. But be that as it may, the conversations with counsel, yes, a list of written questions, all request for services to either your local counsel or litigation counsel, I put into writing. There are no requests for services that are forwarded that are not put into writing. I believe that would be inappropriate to do that.
So I would request that you forward that list to commissioners so that we can review the list. I also think the issue of the closed session, ultimately, we have to vote on that on Monday anyway. So, because we have to have, I believe, a 2/3 vote to go into closed session. So we can cover that issue on Monday. So I think the topic on the floor right now is, are we going to defer discussion on 6A and 6B until Monday? Commissioner Witches?
So I would say yes, and then I would make a motion to add a meeting on Monday.
Yeah,
I'll withdraw my first motion and then add a motion to add a meeting on Monday for discussion of these items.
Okay.
I don't know what time though.
That's what I was just going to ask Ms. Reinhardt can we start at 9 or 10? Because we're already set up in here. I don't know if they break down over the weekend.
We should be able to start at 9.
Okay. So start at 9 and we gotta bake in 2 hours for public comment, I think, right? So maybe 9 to 1. Does that make sense? I mean, I would say we got to bake in 2 hours at least for public comment.
Let's do, I guess tentatively you could do 9 to 3, and then if we need to, if we're done early, we're done early.
Okay, so what's your motion, Commissioner Witches?
So I make a motion to add a meeting on Monday, 8th from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Motion made by Commissioner Witches, seconded by Commissioner Valette. Woo! Is there any discussion or debate on the motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'm not participating in the debate. I would just offer that that commissioners have until noon with which to draw their maps and submit them. So that might be a consideration as well.
Okay. Commissioner Eid.
Well, or we could just change that date to Tuesday. You know,
No,
so
because there's all sorts of things that happen on the back end when we submit our maps, and we don't want to crunch Michigan Department of State on stuff like that. So,
Okay, so let me change it then. So have a meeting on Monday, the 8th, starting at 12:01 p.m. until 6 p.m.
Are you withdrawing your initial
Yes,
motion?
and the initial one is withdrawn.
I had not restated it yet, even though it was moved and seconded. So withdrawing the initial motion. So now we have a motion to schedule a Monday meeting from 12 p.m. to, I'm sorry, 12:01 p.m., very specific, to 6 p.m. in Lansing, I'm assuming. Do we have a second?
I don't understand why we changed it. Tell me why we changed it.
the time the maps are due is noon.
So we're
So,
gonna have 2 hours of public comment prior to that.
That's true.
so you're gonna be drawing your own maps. You're gonna be drawing your maps while listening to public comment. That doesn't seem like a very good thing to do.
Well, I think if I think if you don't have your map done by 10 o'clock or on Monday, you're not getting it done. So I don't have a second yet, but Janice, are you suggesting maybe we do 10 to 4 and that would give us the 2 hours until noon, or what's your thoughts?
Okay, 10 to 4.
So we have a motion that has not been seconded. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to have a meeting on Monday from 12 to 6. We have a request for a motion to amend. Is that what you're making? Motion to amend the time from 10 to 4?
And please turn on your microphone, please, Commissioner Gallant.
Yes.
Do we have a second for the motion to amend? Seconded by Commissioner Lett. Any debate or discussion on the motion to amend? All right. All in favor of amending the times of the hearing from on the initial motion from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay.
Nay.
So we have 2 nays. We have 13 here? Do we have 13? We have 12. So by a vote of 10 to 2, the ayes prevail on the amendments. We will now move to the motion to schedule the Monday meeting as amended from 10 to 4 p.m.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Please excuse the interruption. Just for clarification, Commissioner Lang was the second no vote, just to confirm?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion or debate on the primary motion as amended? Which is to schedule a meeting on Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All right, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay.
Nay.
By a vote of 11 to 1, the ayes prevail and the meeting will be added to our schedule. At this point, it would be appropriate. Do we need to do a motion to postpone, General Counsel, the new business until Monday, or just?
Madam Chair, if the items on the agenda are not addressed, they're automatically put forward, but certainly the commission can just request that it be listed on the agenda that the executive director will prepare.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so I think we've kind of resolved that topic for now. So let's kind of recap where we are. So I'm sorry, Commissioner Eden.
so what time does that meeting end?
10 a.m.
No, end.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay, I'd like to motion to change the time where individual maps are due from noon until 4:30 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a second on that right now. Do we have a second on that motion? All right, so
I'll second.
so we have a motion by Commissioner E to move the due date for submission or time for submission of individual maps until it was 4:30, right? 4:30. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Go ahead, Commissioner Ede.
Well, the reason I think that might be a good idea is because the conversation Monday might change people's minds on if they're to submit individual maps or not.
Okay. Commissioner Lett.
Well, the only thing that would really change is whether or not they're going to submit it at noon or at 4, because they're not going to know what our decision is. So if the decision were to change and they didn't have to submit on Monday at some time and could submit them at any time, they would be taking a big chance. So if you leave it at noon rather than 4, we're helping out Secretary of State's office. And there's no question then that they're going to have to get it in. And if we change and they can get it in at any time, they've already got it in. They potentially, depending on the outcome, could maybe put in another one for all I know. So that's the reason I would oppose shifting it to 4.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote unless there's an additional comment. All in favor of shifting the deadline until 4:30 for individual commissioners to submit maps, raise your hand and say aye. Yep, this is a motion to shift the deadline for individual submissions of maps until 4:30 PM on Monday. So one more time, let's call the vote. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. Nay.
Nay.
By a vote of 11, or I'm sorry, 1 to 11, Aaron voted no too, so by a vote of 2 to 10, she voted yes. So, okay, by a vote of 3 to 9.
Madam Chair?
Aaron Wagner, can you specify what your vote was?
I voted no. Wait,
so
I voted yes. I was with Anthony.
You're with Anthony. Thank you. That's fine.
And Madam Chair, again, unless it's a roll call vote, the vote count is not into play. So this motion by a voice vote was clearly that the motion failed. So
Okay.
if there's a question about the voice vote, then a roll call vote would be appropriate, but voice votes they either carry or they fail.
Okay. All right. So now that we have that issue resolved, I think we can move back to our deliberations. So just recapping where we were at, we've worked really hard this week. We have advanced 3 draft congressional maps. We have advanced 3 draft. So the congressional were Chestnut, Birch, and Apple. We advanced 3 state Senate maps, Palm, Linden, and Cherry. And we advanced 3 House maps, Magnolia, Hickory, and Pine version 5. At this point, is there any interest in working on additional maps? Anyone have anything else that they would like to propose or bring forward? Okay. Go ahead.
Before we move on, you'd made a request for the written questions from General Counsel
Yes.
to Baker. Did we get a response on that from General Counsel?
My response earlier was yes, and my response now is yes.
Okay. So 1 second. All right.
What was your last question?
Is there anything else we need to cover? Does anyone want to propose any additional maps, work on any additional maps?
I'm working on one right now that they should have done within 30 minutes.
And you want it to be a collaborative map, or are you just submitting it individually?
Oh, absolutely collaborative. Yeah.
Okay. well
I'm
then-
making the changes right now.
So what map is this? And
This is a congressional map, and the intent is to put Gladwin and Midland County together.
okay, what map are you working off of?
I'm working off of Chestnut.
Okay, so can you bring up Chestnut and you can just direct him rather than having us
Okay.
sit here
Well,
while
I
you
don't
work
know-
on it?
I don't know exactly. Okay, we can do that.
Yeah,
one.
I mean, that would be more efficient to just have Kent
Sure.
make the changes. So we're gonna create a copy or a clone,
Correct.
because that other map is locked. Commissioner Weiss.
Madam Chair, would it be wiser maybe have Commissioner Clark take his laptop right down next to, since he's been working on it, would it maybe be easier to do it that way?
If he would like,
Yeah, I can do that. That's a
just
good
make sure when you're directing Kent that you have your microphone on so that the public can hear what you're saying.
Correct. I'll be down in a second. I wonder.
Go ahead, Commissioner Letts.
Are there others that we're going to deal with besides Commissioner Clark's? I see Anthony has his hand up.
Commissioner Eid, your microphone isn't on too.
So, I thought we kind of had an understanding that we were going to compromise on the Midland thing by including it in a house map, which is what we did. I'm just not sure this is a wise route to go down, because then okay, we changed it on the congressional map. Well, then I think what's gonna happen is somebody's gonna change it on a house map too, to make it included in the house district, and that's not really a route I wanna go down. I think it's just gonna complicate things moving forward, so.
Commissioner Witches.
I would agree with Commissioner Eid on that fact. We discussed at length the areas in Midland and how we were going to configure these items, and then specifically address the Midland situation in the House district.
Yeah, and
Commissioner Clark.
yeah, my recollection of this was the discussion dealt with the Senate and the House map, but we'd never included the congressional in that.
That would not be my recollection. Yeah, and honestly, if we are gonna do this and it's gonna advance, I am gonna want to go back to our house map and restate that Bay City Midland and take Midland out of, because I think if we're gonna do it in one, then we're not gonna honor what we discussed a couple days ago, then we should change the house map as well.
Okay, I'll
Okay,
withdraw.
that's fair.
Madam
I'll
Chair,
withdraw.
was that voted on? Because I don't recall a vote. Was it
was
voted on?
not voted on,
If
no.
it was left one way in the Senate, it wouldn't be in the House? Or it would be
It
a
was a-
certain way in the Senate and a certain way in the House?
It was a discussion that we had. I
Was
don't
it
know. if you were
voted
here.
on? Because I didn't vote on that, and
Yeah.
that's not something I would have agreed with.
Was.
I don't think it was.
Oh, I think the vote, well, I can't recall. I'm gonna withdraw the map.
We did not vote on it. We did discuss it at length. It might have been in one of the sessions where you weren't here earlier in the week. So Commissioner Orton.
Yeah, I was just going to answer Rhonda's question. We discussed many of the very controversial areas where we've heard multiple requests for 2 different things or 3 different things. And we decided we would try to work on a compromise by giving some people what they want in one map and some other people what they want in a different map.
Yeah, it was in the spirit of the recognition that there are 3 sets of maps that we're doing, and we can't give everyone everything that they're asking for in every map because that's impossible. Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, I apologize for the confusion. My recollection is wrong.
All right. Anyone else want to work on a collaborative map, or can we move on to our meeting minutes? I think we're done mapping. Yeah. Woo. All right. So next on the agenda are the minutes for approval from the October 22nd public hearing at the Grand Rapids at the DeVos Place, and the Gaylord public hearing as well. The minutes have been provided to the commission prior to the meeting. Are there any edits? Commissioner Witches.
Move to adopt.
Well, can we do them one at a time?
Yes.
So may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 22, 2021 Grand Rapids public hearing?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Witches, second by Commissioner Lett. Any, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail, and the meeting minutes from October 22, 2021 Grand Rapids public hearing are adopted. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 25th, 2021 meeting in Gaylord?
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Commissioner Witches, seconded by Commissioner Lett. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. All right, it looks like we do have a staff report today, starting with Executive Director Hammersmith. You are there. Hearing, yeah, I couldn't see you behind the monitor and I thought you left. I was like, whoops. So executive, hearing no objections, please proceed, Director Hammersmith.
I just wanted to thank everybody for all your work. Everybody has worked very, very hard through this process. And it should be a day of celebration of the effort that has been put into making fair maps for the state of Michigan. So I applaud you. I'm very proud of this commission and the work you've done. And I just wanted to be able to say that today.
Thank you, Executive Director Hammersmith. Now we will move on to General Counsel. Do you have an update?
you know, I can always talk, Madam Chair. No, I would just echo the executive director's comments, and it's just amazing to watch the commission work through this process as a team. And it's a very exciting day for the commission. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. If our communications and outreach director, Edward Woods III, has an update, we would allow him to do so. And 2 thumbs up. Anything else you would like to add other than that? Okay. The man of many words is only got 2 thumbs today. That's okay. All right, next we will move to Michigan Department of State. Without objection, I'll ask Sarah Reinhardt from the Michigan Department of State if she has a report.
Just want to echo the words of your executive director. As someone who's been a part of this process from the application period through today, and who's held each one of your applications in my own hands prior to the random selection, it's really been a treat and an honor to have witnessed what happened here, and congratulations to all of you.
All right. Correspondence received in advance of our meeting today was provided to members of the commission in our meeting materials. There are no future agenda items to share at this time. Does anyone have any announcements? As the items on our agenda are completed, a motion to adjourn is in order. Go ahead, Commissioner Lett.
Here's a question for General Counsel. If the Baker memo as it comes out determines that our process that we developed for the 45-day period and the maps to be submitted is against the amendment in the Constitution, has General Counsel requested that they provide what the process will be that would be pursuant to the amendment and the Constitution?
Commissioner, or I'm sorry, General Counsel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Yes.
All righty. Commissioner Witches.
Thank you.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Commissioner, motion made by Commissioner Witches, seconded by Commissioner Eid to adjourn. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail. The meeting is adjourned at 11:54 a.m. Thank you, everybody.